We can still Mara.
This isn't about Trump, at least not really. It's about that glorious information and awakening movement that surged behind him. With the benefit of hindsight, it should seem obvious to us that both the movement and the country would have been better served by a different banner altogether. Not MAGA, but Mara, Make America Real Again. That kind of shift alone can still change everything. Not just cosmetically, but functionally, because that word, great, is a foggy word, a nostalgic word, a word that invites endless argument about some imagined past, present, or future golden age that no two people can even agree on. Real, on the other hand, is a word with teeth. You can test it, you can interrogate it, you can expose what fails to meet it. At least you should be able to do this, assuming the collective gray matter hasn't slipped past that conceptual threshold entirely. Some would argue America was never real to begin with, that our world has always been a performance, a facade, a managed illusion. Okay, fine. That's an argument I would actually welcome. But as the old saying goes, you don't sprint before you stand. Though in our case, it might be more accurate to say you have to get up off your dumbed-down ass before you even remember how legs work. So start small, start obvious. What are the things in America that are so plainly, undeniably fake that everyone, across tribes, parties, and personalities, could at least agree that they deserve serious scrutiny? Let's begin where fakery does the most damage.
Make our money real again.
We live inside a debt-based monetary system where new money is only created through debt instruments, what some have aptly called Babylonian money magic. Fractional reserve banking isn't an accident or a conspiracy theory, it's the fakery's operating system. And it's worth asking whether America's transformation, from a nation virtually free of debt in the late 1800s to the most indebted country on earth, might have something to do with the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. Our currency is no longer backed by gold or silver. It's fiat, money by decree, sustained by nothing more than faith in the issuing authority. Pure trust, no anchor. But the times, they are a-changin'. But what is worse still is that the government pays a private Federal Reserve System to create that money, then borrows it back at interest. Interest that currently runs to roughly $1 billion a day on tens of trillions in bonded debt. A spectacular business model, if you're on the receiving end. Less so if you're the one shackled to it. Fake history doesn't smile kindly on presidents who notice this too clearly. Neither do so-called traveling magic bullets. But the arithmetic remains stubborn. Inflation then finishes the job, quietly stealing from savers by ensuring the supply of zeros never runs dry. In simple terms, every dollar created dilutes every dollar held. If X, money supply, increases, then Z, purchasing power, falls. No mystery, no ideology, just math that transfers wealth upward while pretending it doesn't exist. But the times, they are a-changin'. Henry Ford said it plainly. If people actually understood the banking and monetary system, there would be a revolution before morning.
Make our politics real again.
The idea that Democrats and Republicans represent fundamentally different power structures collapses under even light pressure. They answer to the same puppet masters, obey the same incentives, and reliably betray voters in alternating costumes. We saw this in living color when Republicans repeatedly delivered full Obamacare repeals to Obama's desk, knowing he would veto them, only to suddenly lose the ability to do that same thing later when they actually controlled the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Theater doesn't get more transparent than that, but the times, they are, changing. Mostly because we are starting to see the nefarious ways that those puppet masters had been incentivizing their political puppets. Add in electronic voting systems that cannot be independently audited by the public. What election integrity activist Katherine Harris calls black box voting, and you no longer have a system that earns trust, or even does the will of the people, or really even cares what that will of the people even is. But the times, they are a-changin'. Immigration policy follows the same pattern. Endless rhetoric, no resolution, and outcomes that reliably benefit corporate interests while fragmenting social cohesion. But the times, they are a-changin'.
Make our education system real again.
The uncomfortable and still often ignored truth is that modern education often produces credentialed confusion rather than wisdom. Charlotte Iserby documented this decades ago in her work entitled The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America, and little has changed since. Children are conditioned early, not educated, but trained, like good little sheep, to comply, repeat, and defer. Curiosity is managed, and dissent is pathologized. By the time higher education finishes its work, many students emerge with crippling debt and are ideologically constrained and less capable of independent thought than when they entered. A system that fears unregulated minds is not a system interested in truth. But the times, they are a-changin'.
Make our news real for once.
Fake news didn't begin with Trump, and he was never its sole critic. Thomas Jefferson despised the press of his day with a ferocity that we today would find shocking. He argued that a man who reads nothing is often better informed than one who reads only newspapers, and warned that truth itself becomes suspect when carried by corrupted channels. Today, the problem has simply consolidated. A handful of corporations, through interlocking ownership and subsidiary control, dominate nearly all major media in America. Uniform narratives are not accidental in such an environment. Once upon a time, Walter Cronkite was held up as the gold standard of trust. Watch the likes of him now with modern eyes and ask whether that trust was ever really earned, or merely inherited, or really just fakely foisted upon us. But the times, they are a-changin'. Independent outlets that foresaw this consolidation and built their own infrastructure survived. Others didn't. The likes of an Alex Jones was demonized and then removed first. Then, others followed. But that old, horrifying pattern is coming to an end, along with the dinosaur, legacy media, because the times, they are a-changin'. So, why? Why do I quote a real song title from a fake artist like Bob Dylan? Well, because the times, they are a-changin'. And nothing can stop what is coming. Where the growing enlightenment is showing us that Dylan and many other versions of these times a-changin' artists of then and today, through our recent history, were and are, in fact, just actors playing their part in an even fake liberal revolution. So I am wondering who exactly were and are the real, truly talented artists, musicians, songwriters, and poets behind them. I suppose that's a question that is fodder for another rant on another day. And yes, the list inspired by Mara could go on and on.
Make childhood innocence real again.
Make our food real again.
Make medicine real again.
Make industry real again.
Make justice real again.
Make our Constitution real again.
Make critical thinking and intelligence real again.
Make our grasp on reality finally real again. Because in the end, this is never just about policy, parties, or presidents. It is about restoring something far more fragile. Making people real again. Making souls real again. And maybe, just maybe, remembering what reality felt like before everything became a managed illusion.
But glory, glory, His truth is marching on.